A much needed bounce back win for the Bulls. I'll admit I was a little worried there to start the game when the Bulls came out looking a little slow, a little sloppy, turning the ball over, and the Magic started out the game with a quick lead. And I started getting nightmare flashbacks from the last game against the Rockets, but the Bulls broke out to start the second quarter with a 16-0 run, and unlike in the game against the Rockets, the Bulls showed up strong in the third quarter, and they never looked back from there. The Bulls did what they needed to do in winning this game, realizing, yeah, we screwed up in the last one, let's make up for it. And with a depleted Magic team, they did what they needed to do, and they improved their record to 13-7 on the night. So what's going on, everyone? You are listening to Bull Central here. Hope you're all doing well. Now, not only was this a much needed win because of the prior two bad losses, but also because this was the first game of back-to-back, and I've talked about this before, how important it is to win that first back-to-back game, especially when you're traveling in between the games, which the Bulls will be, as they'll be traveling back to Chicago to take on a very tough Miami Heat team, which I think will be a very exciting game to watch. But in any event, when we learned that the Magic's best player, at least in my opinion anyway, and Cole Anthony was going to be out for the game, and with the loss from the Rockets the other night, in a way, you kind of had to expect that the Bulls were going to come out hungry to smack the Magic right off the bat. And they did just that. I will say, though, a couple of players I was pretty impressed with from the Magic. One of which was obviously a guy that I knew was going to have a good game against his former team, and that was Wendell Carter Jr., who started lighting it up for the Bulls in the first half. He finished the game with 26 points and 10 rebounds. Wendell even talked about how going up against his former team is an emotional experience for him. It's going to be a revenge game for him in particular. I mean, anytime the Magic are going to face the Bulls, you're going to see that type of performance from Wendell wanting to show out against his former team. And then the other guy who I finally got to see play, aside from highlights anyway, and I know he's been playing well and he's been one of the top rookies in the league, and that's Franz Wagner. Now, for those that don't know, Wagner was actually the draft pick that the Magic used with the Bulls lottery pick that they traded to Orlando as part of the Vucevic trade. So it does sting a little to see Wagner do so well, knowing that could have been our pick. But, you know, I'll still take the all-star big man in Vucevic any day over an unproven draft pick. But the Magic did pick well in terms of this overall draft, because not only did they get Wagner, but they also got Jalen Suggs. Wagner's got some very nice moves. He put up 15 points tonight and continues to be one of the highest scoring rookies in the league. But anyway, we're not here to talk about the Magic, we're here to talk about the Bulls. Now, what I liked seeing from this game that I've been harping on so much recently and so desperately wanting to see is the speed and pace at which the Bulls play and are so good at when it's done effectively. And you saw exactly that when they kicked off the second quarter to go on a 16-0 run, when they were getting after the ball, scoring, getting a stop in a hurry, and pushing it forward in transition for a quick bucket. You didn't see much of that in the first quarter, which had me thinking, here we go again, another one of these nights where you just see heavy isolation half-court offense, but the Bulls completely turn that around in for the rest of the game and dominated from there. The other thing I like seeing from this game, well, aside from the fact that the Bulls were incredibly efficient on offense, shooting 55% from the field and 50% from three, but actually how well they move the ball. How about those 32 assists? We had talked about this before. The Bulls have yet to lose a game when they put up 30 or more assists. It's what makes them such a deadly team when they're playing with great pace and ball movement. And then also on offense, balanced scoring. You didn't need to see 35-plus point nights from either DeRozan or Lavine. All starters were in double figures with the exception of Javonte Green, who only played 23 minutes. But more importantly, we finally got the game we have been waiting to see from Coby White as our scoring spark off the bench. The much needed offense in the second unit that we have been talking about since saying can't wait for Coby to come back. Well, he showed up in a huge way off the bench tonight, scoring 20 points on incredible efficiency, going 9 for 11 from the field. He wasn't just chucking up threes like we have been seeing, but rather making plays to get to the basket. Still would like to see some improved defense from Coby, but one step at a time. Get this though, in 24 minutes that Coby played, he was plus 39 off the bench, which is just incredible. He also had 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and only 1 turnover. He's giving the bench mob a new identity with some added offense. Speaking of which, if you've been following the channel for a while now, you know that I have partnered with benchmob.com, where you can get exclusive bench mob merchandise to show your support and and love for the Bulls' new bench mob. And if you use the code BullsCentral20, all one word, you will get 20% off your order. The link to the site and the code can be found in the description. But anyway, a great game from Coby, and of course, the balanced night from the starting lineup. DeRozan was pretty off in the first quarter, but eventually got it together, putting up 23 points on 7 for 16 shooting. And get this, he was a perfect 3 for 3 from deep. He continues to have the best season of his career shooting from 3, and it couldn't come at a better time now that he is obviously wearing a Bulls uniform. And how about Lonzo Ball? Started off hot on offense at the beginning of the game when he started knocking down threes quickly. Didn't score much in the second half, but he switched his focus on defense, snagging 5 steals in this one for a season high. And Alex Caruso, both him and Lonzo combined for 9 steals. Again, why it's so funny and laughable to me that so many analysts at ESPN thought this Bulls team was going to have a terrible defense when you look at the defensive prowess for which guys like Lonzo and Caruso play and their perimeter defense. Now, Vucevic started off a little rusty. You can tell he's still trying to get his conditioning back up after being out for a while due to COVID, but by the second half, he started looking a little more like himself. He finished the game with 16 points and 8 rebounds and 3 assists. I will say, though, the one downside of Coby balling out like he did, which I shouldn't even really say it's a downside because I would much rather see Coby have a night like he did than struggle on offense. But if there was any negative with that, is that it's going to mean less minutes for Ayo. Now, Ayo did end up playing 18 minutes in total, and that's mainly because most of it came down in garbage time after the Bulls were already up 30+ points. And of course, Ayo scored in a hurry when he was putting in that time, taking the most of that opportunity. It is something I do think the Bulls, though, in general, are going to struggle with, and finding that balance between developing Ayo, but at the same time, utilizing Coby's strengths on offense. And of course, just the fact that the Bulls have so much talent in the backcourt. How do you find the time on the court for all of these guys? And what's the long-term plan for the future of this backcourt? With really all of them being very young and all with upside potential. I don't know, I would love to hear what you guys think on the matter. Can Coby and Ayo coexist as they stand right now, also factoring in that Lonzo and Caruso are going to get the bulk of minutes at the 1 and 2 spot? So let me know in the comments on that. The Bulls are right back at it tomorrow night against the Heat in Chicago. Let me know if any of you guys are going to be in attendance at that game. Really hoping the Bulls can walk away with a win in that one against a good Miami Heat team, despite being on a traveling game back-to-back. Until then, guys, as always, be sure to subscribe as I am trying to hit 20,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I'll be covering the Bulls all season long, so you don't want to miss out. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and I will catch you in the next one.